Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited to be here today with another interview with one of our favorite residents of Hope Valley. We have Loretta Walsh is here, and she plays Florence on When Calls the Heart. And Loretta, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
My goodness, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So this is so exciting. It's your first time on the podcast.
Mhm.
And what we like to do is we like to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so we like to ask, what inspired you to become an actor?
Oh, I have actors in my family, so I always grew up around creative people, and so doing concerts and dancing and singing and making up plays was just a big part of my childhood. Um, and also I grew up really in the middle of nowhere, rural Australia, and so my childhood was very much go outside and play, and so that meant I had to use my imagination to entertain myself, and so then I really became involved in dance, which then led me to the local community theater society, and that's when I really fell in love with theater and with acting, and the rest is history. And then I was sort of determined, like that's the dream, that's the thing that I want to do.
So did you do a lot of like musicals
I
growing up?
did. I did. My
Yeah.
very first musical was Oliver, and then I had a part in The Sound of Music, in which I played one of the Von Trapp children, and
No.
that really sealed the deal for me.
Yeah.
I felt so. I just loved the sense of collaboration and community that I experienced from doing that show, and I guess there's a certain thing I think that all human beings are looking for. I think that we're all in some way looking to be really seen, to be really seen for who we are and understood. Some of us also want to be looked at, but not everybody does. And I think that that's really probably the thing that ignited in me during that experience, was
Mhm.
like, oh my goodness, I get to do this really creative and fun thing, and I
Mhm.
also get to feel really seen, at the same
Yeah.
time. So that combination was pretty addictive.
Yeah, I think that there's something so satisfying about it all kind of coming together and all the pieces kind of coming together.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I was in some shows in high school, and just being part of that kind of team is so satisfying.
Yes, absolutely. That's my favorite thing about
Mhm.
this is, it's a team sport.
Yeah.
It's a
W-
team sport.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to, if we ever are able to get our Hallmark musical off the ground, our dream, our
Oh,
fantasy,
amazing.
is what we want. Because I mean, wouldn't it be so fun? Because you have so much talent, so
So
many
much
great
talent.
singers that are in the Hallmark family,
Yeah.
and Christmas music, like it just fits. I mean, if they had a Countdown to Christmas musical, it would be the hugest ratings ever.
People would love it.
Yeah,
You're right. And there's so much talent. Oh
yeah.
my goodness. The singing, the acting, the dancing, the playing
Mhm.
instruments, all of that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think there would be a lot of people within the Hallmark world who would be
yeah.
totally down for
They
that.
got like they dipped their toes into it this last season with the Christmas waltz, where they had this kind of whole ballet sequence.
Yeah.
Camp is a trained ballet dancer, and everyone loved it. It was the number one movie of the whole Christmas. So I think it would be a huge hit for sure.
Yeah. I
I would
agree
be
with you.
I would be so excited. So if you're listening, Hallmark, let's get it done. It'd be so fun. But that sounds really great. And so being it from like rural Australia, were there like a lot of opportunities for
No.
you? Yeah, I
No.
wouldn't. So how were you able to kind of make it
Yeah.
all happen?
I mean, I think I really sensed from a pretty young age, I am going to have to leave here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I'm so that's what I did. Is once I I finished school. I went to university and did a program in majoring in theater arts as an actor. And then I was like, I need to go to the biggest city possible and start my career there. And so I did. I moved to Sydney and then started doing theater and little bits on TV and commercials and short films and all of that kind of stuff. I sensed early, okay, I'm going to have to go.
Mm-hmm.
And bless my parents, right? They always said there's a way bigger world out there than just what you see here, and you need to go and explore it and figure out where you belong and what you like. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that I'm a parent myself, I understand how difficult that is,
Yeah.
because I always say to my husband, what if she wants to go and live, in Antarctica or something? Are we just going to be like, what a coincidence? We're also moving to Antarctica. Like, yeah, it's a difficult thing, I think, to let go of your kids.
Yeah.
But I have time. And I have been told by other parents who are now empty nesters, it's okay, you'll be ready. You'll be ready to go. Okay, off you go.
It's been challenging for my parents because I'm the only one well, there's 6 of us kids,
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
the only one that lives close by.
Yeah.
Well, now my brother's actually moved down, but my two of my sisters live in England,
Oh, wow.
so that
Yeah.
has been challenging.
Yeah.
And
So,
yeah, and uh, especially with the pandemic, my one sister actually ended up getting married last year, and so we all were
oh,
able to watch it on the videotape. But
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but hopefully, I mean, it's funny because I literally the week before lockdown started, I submitted my passport application because
Mm,
I figured, oh, I'll go to London and for my sister's wedding,
yeah.
and then I didn't end up getting it back until September. So
Uh,
this is March. It took all the way till September. I'm like, well,
wow.
I guess it's good I have this, but anyway,
Mm,
hopefully she'll still get to do the wedding sometime maybe next year.
yeah.
Years
Yeah.
crossed.
We're all having to just get really creative about how we live life and how we
Mhm.
celebrate events,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. She was able to get married, but hopefully we can actually do a wedding uh next year. But yeah, it's been a crazy time, of course.
Oh.
But do you remember the first like real part that you ever got? What that experience? Did you just like
Oh,
freak
yeah.
out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Because, like, it's a challenging business,
Yeah.
right? So when you get picked, it's like, oh my goodness, they picked me, and
Mhm.
now I get to do it.
Yeah.
You know, um, Absolutely. I mean, I remember getting my first TV job in Australia, which was on a local cop show called Water Rats. And I was totally thrilled, And also, the thing with being an actor is that you don't know why you get picked and you don't know why you don't get picked a
Right.
lot of the time, right? So it's kind of like, oh, so when it happens, it's always exciting to me. I don't think I'll ever lose that sense of like, oh yay, I get to be a part of this. I get to collaborate and be on set or do a wonderful play or whatever it is. I think that thrill is always there for me.
Yeah. I figure everybody that's in the creative arts has sort of a that thing you do kind of moment that's it. They picked me, yeah, kind of a thing, like that moment.
Yeah,
It's You're so excited.
absolutely. And for all the ones that you see, there's so many more, that you don't see,
Yeah.
right? So I think I think if people had like a window into how actors and a lot of creative people worked, I can only really speak as an actor, but like there's so
Hmm.
much work that happens that seemingly never turns into anything.
Right.
But I believe it is all contributing
Mm-hmm.
to the successes that you are going to have and the
Mm-hmm.
successes that are coming your way,
So
right?
So how long have you been in Vancouver? At the
Vancouver, I have been here for 13 years. I moved out in
Wow.
2007. I used to live in Toronto before that, which is my husband's hometown.
Hmm.
Hometown, I should say. It's a massive city. But yeah, so I lived in Toronto for 6 years and then we moved out to Vancouver. And so Vancouver's been very good to me. I've had a really,
Was
a,
that hard with the it being so cold, the weather?
in
Just growing up,
Toronto,
yeah, growing up
yeah.
in Australia.
Yeah, in Toronto, I will admit, come February, I was angry. Because I was like, why do we live in a place where when I walk outside, the air hurts my skin? What are we doing?
Yeah,
Um,
because you get
Vancouver,
that humid cold up there,
yeah,
which
Vancouver
is
is less so, frosty, but the rain can definitely set in here.
hmm
And I usually, pre-COVID, of course, I usually go to Australia over those winter months when it gets really dark and kind of torrential. So I try to take a reprieve,
hmm
go with my family, go see my family there because it's summer
yeah,
during that time. So I just try and sort of work it that way. But
yeah.
yeah, it's an adjustment for sure.
Mm.
But the beautiful thing about being in Canada is there really is very distinct seasons. In Australia, it's kind of like really hot and not so hot.
Hmm. Yeah,
you know? Yeah. Or there's kind of the rainy and the dry season.
yeah,
So yeah, I do really appreciate the seasons. I think they're
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Well, so when you're doing a part, do you differentiate between trying to have have a Canadian accent versus an American accent
Yeah.
versus
It depends on the part.
uh,
I'm so longing to play a part in which I can sound like myself. I
yeah.
now I am. I think that I've spent a lot of time um, kind of attempting to fit in here in a way, and so that's a lot of work.
Hmm.
I will say. Um, yeah, but I guess I'm kind of putting it out there. Like I would like to play somebody who does sound like me.
Yeah.
And in a really like authentic, genuine way, not in a kind of caricature stereotype. Put another shrimp on the barbie, kind of way. So you never know what is on the horizon, but it always depends. I look at the role, and I usually what happens in Canada, unless the show is really specifically Canadian, they want a very American sound.
Hmm.
So I had to really learn how to do that, and continue to, always have to work on that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it is really role dependent.
Yeah. You know what would be really good? They could get you and Pauline Egan. I don't know if you know her,
I know,
but
Pauline. We
you could
grew up
have
on the street from each other. We're from the same like
really.
small town, yeah, middle of nowhere.
That would be perfect. So you could have the two of you playing sisters
Yeah,
from Australia. And
that'd be great.
yeah, then it
That'd
could
be
be
great.
some fun story.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Pauline is she's kind of family in a way because her sister married my brother.
No way.
Yeah, so my sister-in-law is her sister. So it's so weird, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are the chances of that?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
love her. She's awesome. That would be really, really good.
yeah,
And you could have a really fun story. You can make it like a summer nights movie. Uh
I'm in.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah,
I'm picking up what you're putting
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Pitch it to Hallmark. See what they say.
Yeah. If you're listening, Hallmark, let's
Yeah,
make this happen.
love in Australia, love down under.
It would be so good. You could have like a Crocodile Dundee kind of like vibe going on.
Yeah, that always always
Mhm.
seems to come up as a reference for sure.
Yeah. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. They're the good folks over at the Bundle Game and Hearties asks Bundle Listen from the creators of the Countdown to Christmas Hallmark Channel board game. There's now an official When Calls the Heart board game. Test your When Calls the Heart knowledge, recall your favorite show moments, and celebrate season 8.
This game is so much fun. Like the name 4 card, name your 4 favorite episodes of When Calls the Heart.
Not sure if I could narrow it down to just 4.
Or this acted out card, Love Triangle.
That's a fun one.
You can have these and many other cards in this fun game, When Calls the Heart board game. You can get your game at www.thebundlegame.com. Enter code Hallmarkies Podcast for free shipping. That's both words, Hallmarkies Podcast, free shipping. It's really fun. All kinds of trivia and fun stuff about your favorite show. So make sure to check out the When Calls the Heart board game at the www.thebundlegame.com. Enter code Hallmarkies Podcast for free shipping.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So how did you first hear about When Calls the Heart? And because you were in it from the very beginning, correct?
Was, yeah. So I got the call. So how it works when you're an actor is that you have an agent or a manager.
Mm-hmm.
They submit you for parts to a casting director who is hired by the production to find the actors who are going to be in the show. And so I got a call, and I was actually out of town. I was on vacation with my my husband and his family. And he said, "Listen, I have this audition for you. Michael Landon Jr. is one of the producers, and he's directing, and he's going to be at the auditions. And let me know what you think. I know you're away, but let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to just tape it and send it or what." And I actually was not an audition for Florence. It was an audition for Marta Crocker. And so I looked at the script, and I don't know, there was some kind of intuition in me. I think I'd really been looking to do a television series that was really focused on women and the importance of women's friendships and the importance of the sisterhood of really, how women just are incredible, and the support and the friendship that we provide each other is just like one of the joys of life.
Yeah.
So I said to my husband, I think I have to go. I have no evidence that this is going to turn into something, but I just feel like I do need to get on a plane, and I do need to go and meet Michael Landon Jr. And I do need to audition for him in person. And so I went, and the audition was great. And then, probably a week later, I got a call saying, "Hey, they actually want to put you forward to the network for Florence." And I was like, "Oh, but I didn't audition for that part." And then they said, "That's all we can tell you." And I was very excited because I knew Florence had some more story. I knew she was a bigger part. And so I was like, all right. And then I got a call saying, "Okay, you got to go back in and work with Michael with new Florence script." And so go do that. So I did. And then a couple of days later, I got the call that I got the part.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you actually left your vacation in order to come and do the audition?
I did.
Yeah.
God bless my husband and his family. I was just like, I think I need to go. They were like, "You got to go." "Okay, you go. You go, girl.
Yeah.
Go. You go get it." And so but it was really just intuition. That's actually kind of how I've made the best decisions in my life, is just, it's always the ones that I don't think about too much.
Yeah.
Moving to Canada, becoming an actor, having my daughter, getting on that plane to go and audition for When Calls the Heart. Just like, I think I need to do that. These very sort of quick decisions, and so far it's really worked out.
Well, I can relate to that because I feel the same kind of thing as far as my podcasting and becoming a film critic. It's just been one decision. Like my friend and I, we decided we wanted to cover Anne with an E over on my channel that I have.
Yeah.
And we didn't really like it very much. So we decided to talk about Hallmark movies, and And then that ended up people really liked that and really took off. And so then we ended up creating the Hallmarkies podcast, and, then that has completely changed my life. And I don't know, so it's just like one little decision led to another little decision to another decision. And so I think I can definitely relate to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust. I
Mhm.
guess the message is trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like listen to that knowing, that wisdom inside.
Mm-hmm. So when you guys did the pilot, when you started the first season, did you
Mhm.
feel like this is something that has legs? This is something that's going to be around for a while?
No,
No.
I was hopeful. I was so hopeful,
Yeah.
right? For me, this was my first time doing like a big recurring role on a TV show. Like I had bits and pieces in TV movies, and really so much of my experience had been in theater. Like I've done dozens and dozens of plays. And so I was so hopeful. I was like, this is fantastic. This is a dream come true. My best friend, Jill Morrison, who played Carla Noonan on the show, it was our dream to do a show together. And so that dream came true in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was hopeful, but I had no idea where When Calls the Heart would go, if it would go anywhere. I just, I was hopeful, but I had no expectations, and I had no sense of, first of all, how long the show would go, or how incredibly popular it would be, or the Hearties.
Yeah.
That is not something that I was thinking about at all. So to have, this incredible group of fans who really have stuck with this show all of these years, who have come with us on all of the ups and downs, who have been with us through many different changes. Oh my goodness. If you had
Mm-hmm.
told me that at the beginning or even the end of season 1, I would have said, I hope you're right, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are. It's
Yeah.
really become a real gift in my life and in many others as well.
Well, what do you think has made the show a success? What do you think is the big pull for the show?
I don't know what it is exactly, but I think that there's a few things going on. I think the show really is kind of a balm, or a soothing place to be. It's entertainment that I think there's a part of all of us that wants to live in a place like Hope Valley, because the values of Hope Valley are about love and community and acceptance and forgiveness and hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially in today's world where with technology and with the internet and with many different things that are happening on this planet, I think it's really lovely to be able to escape into a simpler time, where I think we all wish, we had a community like the residents of Hope Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and like it certainly takes a village, to make a TV show. I think that the people in the network and all of the creatives and all of the technicians and all of the crew and the cast and the producers and the writers, like I think they really care. I think we've somehow assembled a group of people who really want this to go great, and they all have, like a great care and respect for creating something that will bring our audience joy, and if not joy, other good and important things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is your favorite part about playing Florence?
She's such a character. Oh my goodness. I mean, listen, I love it when I get to be comedic. you know,
Mhm.
and have lines like this is inappropriate mustard, and you know, his music
But
was quite provocative.
yeah, I mean, to be such a busybody, it must be
Such
fun.
a busybody, so fun. It's so fun to play a character who is always actively doing something. So
Mhm.
that's been really, really fun. And I guess, you know, like I started in a pretty emotional place with Florence, you know, because she had really gone through, as many of the women in the town had gone through, just total devastation and loss and grief. And
Yeah.
so I also really like it when Florence has an opportunity to be more vulnerable, because I think that's actually really the truth of who she is. I think that
Mhm.
she's just a really vulnerable um, person, you know, who has her own fears and her own stresses and her own wants and needs. And so I really welcome
Yeah.
it when the writers will allow me to sort of, you know, peel back some more onion as to who
Yeah.
she is,
Well, it
right?
was really fun her learning to man the phone lines,
Mm.
because it was like the gossipy, now we have this gossipy person that's now hearing everyone's conversations and what she's gonna do.
It's like the
That was
perfect
fun.
job for her.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, the thing is about Florence is that she makes a lot of mistakes, right? And
Yeah.
she really has to learn lessons. And sometimes she doesn't get the lesson the first time. And so then she has to learn it again.
Yeah.
Her Achilles heel is that she cannot help herself when it comes to wanting to know what is going on with everybody, and also not being able to have the boundary to keep a secret. Like she
Mhm.
just cannot help herself sometimes. She just has to share it with
Right.
somebody, you know. And I think that that is kind of indicative of just a really lonely character,
Mhm.
somebody who is attempting to connect with Molly or connect with other people in the town. And oh, well, do you know what I heard? This is what's going on. And so I think it's just it's a deficiency, which is trying to have a sense of intimacy with
Right.
somebody for the wrong reasons, and it's not real intimacy, right?
Right.
It's fake intimacy. So, but I think that she's in the past been quite lonely.
Yeah. Well, so how did Flomo evolve, and what has that been like with Johanna
Oh my
Newmarch,
goodness.
building that whole relationship up?
You know, I think it started kind of in season 2
Uh,
because Molly and Florence kind of got put together a lot. And so it's been great. You know, I mean, so much of what you see on screen is really just Johanna and Loretta,
yeah.
right? Because, you know, we've had 8 years to get to know each other. And, you know, Johanna's a dear friend.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I know her very, very well. And we have a really great friendship.
Hmm.
And so it's been delightful. It's been delightful to have, you know, what's happening on screen also be happening, you know,
Hmm.
behind the scenes. I would say that Johanna and I are different from Molly and Florence in that
Hmm.
um, we don't have the same gossip gene
Yeah.
that sometimes those ladies can have. I think we have like some pretty firm boundaries, and I think we also, you know, don't have as much judgment as
Hmm.
some of
I would
those.
hope so.
Yeah, you know, listen, in season 8, I can't give too much away, but what I will say is you will get to see different sides to Flomo.
Hmm.
And it's been an incredible gift that
Yeah.
John Tinker has given us, because what it has meant is that we actually really do get to go deeper into that friendship, and we
Hmm.
get to really share some more intimate and private moments between
Yeah.
Florence and Molly, and it's really beautiful.
Oh, well, we're
So
excited, and we feel like with the new showrunner that there is more of even because last season there was more of a spirit of an ensemble, I felt like, and then I feel like this season has been even more so.
yeah,
And I think that as hard as it was to lose Jack, I think that it has helped the show become less of a 2-person show, and now it's really about the town, which I think has been good.
Yeah, and what I think, for a show to go for so long, and also we don't know what the future holds. I think all of us are so hopeful, to do this for season 9 and 10 and 15. Like I think
Yeah.
everybody would be like, yes, please. This is like a dream job. Let's
Mhm.
keep going. But in order to do that, we do have to have different stories, right?
Yeah,
And When Calls the Heart is always going to be about Elizabeth Thatcher. Elizabeth
sure.
Warren, who comes to Coal Valley, turns into Hope Valley, and her journey. Of course, she is the lady that this is about. But I think it's smart to also have our audience be able to invest in other characters in order to
Mhm.
be able to keep the show moving.
Right.
And I know that when Michael and Brian Bird created the show, I had seen an interview with them, and they said that they wanted to set up a world in which they could have 100+ episodes of a show. So it was really important to them to set up this community and this world,
Mhm.
right? So,
Mhm.
I mean, goodness, from their lips to God's ears,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. When you first saw on like Twitter and stuff like that, people talking about flow mode, were just like, wow, what is going on? Like there are people who were like advocating more flow mo, more time.
I
Yeah.
know. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, bless them. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think what it is with Florence and Molly is they're imperfect people, but they really are each other's ride or die.
Mhm.
So I think that that's so valuable. I think that if you don't have someone in your life like that, you really want someone like that in your life. And I think it's just
Mhm.
really relatable because, if you have a best friend, sometimes you're gonna support them, and sometimes you're gonna chastise them,
Yeah.
and sometimes you're gonna laugh with them, and sometimes you're just gonna hold their hand when they're going through a really rough time. And I think that's who Flomo is. They're kind of a duo who do that for each other. I think
Mhm.
they really see one another. And I think because those characters have both been through some deep loss and some deep trauma, they understand where the other one is coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really, makes for a deep friendship.
Yeah. So last year with the everything getting closed down and things, were you worried that you weren't there, they wouldn't even be able to film a season 8?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Nobody
Mhm.
knew what it meant. A year ago, we were all just going,
Yeah.
stand by,
Mhm.
stand by.
Yeah.
So I think, when we did go back to work, there was such a level of gratitude from everybody.
Mhm.
It was like, oh my goodness, like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy,
Yeah.
and so, I think that gratitude, um, really, as cheesy as it is, behind the scenes, we are a little bit of a Hope Valley community too. We all really
Mhm.
care about each other. We've developed friendships over these years of spending so much time together. And so I think when it came to the safety and all of the protocols of being able to continue work because of COVID, everybody bought in right away. It was like,
Mhm.
absolutely, test me, clean everything, wear masks for sure. Like, we're all in this together because we really want this to work. And
Mhm.
so we were able to get through the whole season without any incidents. And so that was really incredible.
Yeah, and I guess since you're in Vancouver, you didn't have to quarantine or anything like that?
No, I didn't personally. Everybody who came in from the US did.
Yeah.
So they had to come in early and quarantine for a minimum 2 weeks and get tested and,
Mhm.
all of that stuff before we started work.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Was that difficult shooting with all the protocols in the sense of uh you're obviously are not going to have group scenes or just the keeping the distance and everything like that. That must have been challenging.
Yeah, it was an adjustment, and I think many of those adjustments really started in the writers' room.
Mhm.
I think that they probably went, okay, well, we're not going to be able to have big group scenes in the church. this year. Like, that's just not going to be able to happen.
Yeah.
We have to move as many things as possible outside.
Yeah.
We have to, keep things as safe as possible. I think that also kind of minimized the number of guest stars that we had come into Hope Valley this year. We still have them, of course, but I think that there was a lot of care taken, and it started right at the top. It started with John Tinker and his room going, okay, how can we problem solve this to make it as safe as possible while also still telling compelling and entertaining stories?
Well, and obviously you can't give any spoilers, but it seems like we're getting more Flomo this season than we've maybe gotten in the past, and maybe a little romance.
Well, yes.
Yeah, it's
So
very exciting.
We're getting more Flomo. And yes, there is the potential for suitors for Florence and Molly, which is very exciting. So that's kind of fun because we're going to get to see some different sides, to those characters. There is one scene that I think it was in episode 2 and it got cut. And it was a beautiful scene with Florence and Molly. And I'm so sad it didn't end up in, and listen, like, it's so hard. It's so hard because there were many scenes that got cut. And sometimes that just happens, right? Because the episodes are running too long. But there was this really great scene of Florence and Molly walking down the main street of Hope Valley. And I love this scene because it was really Florence who was driving it and saying to Molly, if we don't try, we won't know. And I felt like it was such a beautiful scene because it really encapsulated how much of a risk it would be for Florence and Molly to dip their toe into the water of potentially seeking companionship with a man again. And so, I think that will show up anyway. I think it's a difficult decision for them to kind of put themselves out there in that light, but yeah, stay tuned. You're going to get to see different sides to both of those characters this year.
We're very excited. It's going to be fun to see them being a little bit more vulnerable than maybe they have before. I think it'll be good.
Totally, because it's uncharted territory for both of them because, they've been by themselves, since losing their husbands.
Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions. So not that the previous questions haven't been silly, but here we go. First question is, what's the best ice cream flavor?
Oh, chocolate.
Yeah.
Simple chocolate. Bring it on.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
Pink.
Oh, fun.
Just like my daughter.
What music are you into right now?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Like the sophisticated part of me goes, well, I like to listen to classical music, but really, I like to listen to what my kid is listening to, which is all of like Disney princesses.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, the music is so good.
She's a big Frozen fan.
Oh my goodness. You know, Moana, she's totally in. It's good.
That's good. All right. We used to say go to date night food, but since we can't go on dates right now, what would be your Postmates order? or your DoorDash or
my DoorDash. Oh,
whatever they have in Vancouver.
Listen, one of my favorite foods. I can't choose a total favorite food, but pizza. I just love pizza. I'm like, I could never give up gluten or like say I'm not gonna have wheat anymore because I'm like, are you kidding me? Have you heard about pizza? I feel like it's like the best.
Yeah, I know. My mom is gluten free, and I just like,
I feel
so
sad
hard.
for you.
I know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I know. I feel bad for her. But all right. Well, would be your go-to date night activity once we're back going on dates again?
My husband, we love date night. We would go for dinner, and then we would either go to a movie or to go and see a show.
Yeah.
We love to go and see comedy. My husband's childhood dream was to be a stand-up comedian.
Oh, really?
And so we see a ton of stand-ups. We see a ton of comedy. So because we love to laugh,
Yeah.
that would be my go-to.
Cool. All right. Dogs or cats?
I love both, but most recently I've had dogs.
Okay. Beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Same for me. Would you rather be in a fancy dress or sweats?
In COVID times, I mean, it's been all sweats.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I would rather be in fancy dress because that would mean I'm going somewhere and going out and doing something fun.
Totally. Listen, I love fancy dress as long as I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't like it when I'm wearing shoes that are like torture devices.
Right.
I love to like get dressed up and feel really beautiful and fabulous, but I also just really want to be comfortable. So sometimes I will sacrifice the glamour for comfort, for sure.
Yeah. All right. What is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Oh, I love the holidays and I celebrate like all of them. I'm gonna say my daughter's birthday.
Oh, that's a
I
cute
know that's
answer. I like
it's
it.
a mental answer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really cute.
But it's meaningful because I think everybody's life changed that day, and it's so fun to see her joy.
Yeah. That's great. So last question, what is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
Oh, I love romance. Love Actually is one of my favorite movies.
Uh-huh.
I watched it again recently at Christmas, and I was like, there are a few things in this movie now that are like, it's a bit dated, I guess. I'm not sure if they made this movie now that some of this stuff would end up in the movie. But I do love that movie. And I also have a special connection to it because my husband, we were on vacation together one Christmas in Australia watching that movie. And the scene with Colin Firth and the Portuguese girl when he comes back to say, I learned Portuguese and I love you and will you marry me? My husband in that moment left the room and went and wrote his proposal to me.
No way. That's
so
great.
I have a connection to that movie.
That's really romantic. I love that. Very good. Well, very good. You passed the test. You answered all the questions.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on and talking with us. This was great. And we'll definitely have to have you back. And we got to get you in a Christmas movie, non-Hallmark, what calls the Heart Christmas movie one of these days.
Yes, I would absolutely love that.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Hallmark, we got to make this happen.
Yes.
But,
maybe I could be the cousin, the friend from Australia.
Yes.
Who comes to town and gets the total American Christmas experience. So there's a fish out of water. That would be so fun.
It would be so good. So well, thank you so much. And do you have social media or anything like that you want to share?
I sure do. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Loretta_Walsh. And I also do have a Facebook page which I share anything that's going on with me in terms of shows and movies and what have you that I'm in, and that's just under at Loretta Walsh.
Great. And we'll have all that in the description section, so people should definitely follow Loretta, and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And make sure you're following the podcast to Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our merch store, which has tons of Hearties inspired merch. So definitely check that. We even have a Team Flomo shirt that you can get.
Woo!
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing.
And so definitely take a look at that. And then we also have our Patron group, which we really appreciate that support. So take a look at all of that. And thanks again, Loretta. We really appreciate this. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye,
Thank you so much.
everyone.
Bye.